Hello everyone, Vince Grindle here with Filipino Outdoors, and today we're going to be making fire. In Iloilo, the term for making friction fire is lagid, where you take two things and rub them together somehow to make the fire. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to make fire by rubbing bamboo. So usually I prefer to use the coconut husk for tinder because it burns longer, so it'll take a long time. It gives you plenty of time to work with it to build the fire up without it having to worry about it going out too fast. And what I usually prefer is, you see here, this side is a lot softer, more fine. I prefer to take this part. This burns really well. This side is good too, but this side here is a little bit better. And I'll just take that, and that's my tinder. I prefer this method when it's not rainy. If it's rainy and you have coconut husks everywhere, so a lot of times they get soggy and you can't use it. But if you can hopefully you can find a coconut that hasn't been cut open already. And that's what we did. It rained here not too long ago, so a lot of the husks on the ground were already kind of soaked, and I found a coconut that hadn't been cut and it was dry inside, so that's what I'm using now. If it's too wet and you can't find dry coconut, you can use your bamboo that you already have, and you want to have a nice dry piece. I'm also going to be using this to make the fire. This is what you usually use, and what I like to do is scrape off the side like this, and I cup my hand so that I can catch it in my hand, so that if you just let it fall, the wind will blow it everywhere. You want to get some nice fine pieces, and you just scrape it like that, and that's how you get your tinder for the fire. And you do that. Keep cutting it. Also, I like to use the coconut husk because it's much faster. This takes a bit of time to have to scrape this up. So you also save a lot of time and energy not having to scrape up the bamboo. All right. We're going to be rubbing with, and I prefer a smaller diameter as opposed to a larger diameter. Also, I want it kind of thick, and this one's a bit thicker than that one. That's also important. Both work okay, but I prefer the smaller diameter because it doesn't crack easy. As if you have a wide one, it tends to crack in the middle, and you don't want that. The embers will fall out the bottom, and you will have a hard time starting the fire. And also, you want it fairly thick because we're going to be wearing this out to make the coal, and the faster it wears out, the bigger that hole is. You want to keep this hole as small as possible. As you can see, this is how big it ends up when you finish, but when you start, the hole is going to be very small. It's going to be about as small as like a pinhole. So it has to be fairly thick on the side to keep that hole as small as possible for as long as possible. If the hole gets too big too fast, the coal will fall out the bottom and you won't get your fire. Like I said, you don't want to do this more than 1 or 2 times because it takes a whole lot of energy. So let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to make our hole. We're going to create kind of like a funnel on the inside. So you take your knife. You want a pointy knife to do this. And I'm going to start maybe about right there, maybe about 1 inch away. And push softly, don't push hard. If you push hard, this will crack. Like I said, you don't want it to crack. So just progressively increase your pressure. Start very slow. Don't try to drive it through so you don't crack the bamboo. You're going to create this funnel in the middle. So sometimes you get something like that and you just cut that out. But we got to keep going till you can feel it come out the other side. Turn it around from time to time just to get that inside fairly smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I can feel it right there coming out. And I'll just kind of lift that out just like that. Like I said, this will be a very small hole. I like to see just a little bit of light come through there. See if I can, yeah, there. I don't know if you can see that light, but there's a tiny hole there. Okay, next we have to make a slot just like that. And it's important, I think that's a very good, important thing that you have to make sure you spend time doing. You want it fairly perpendicular. So I'm just going to make a line here, perpendicular to the bamboo here. I'm just going to create a line. I'll start on one side, and it should be, I like it about as thick as the back of my knife. So it's hard to, and you just start here and just slide it through. This part is fairly important because this is where you're going to be sliding the bamboo back and forth, so you don't want this sliding side to side. You want it going just forward. Do the other side. So you want it fairly deep and fairly wide. Again, be careful with the pressure. You don't want to crack the bamboo by pressing too hard. Down to the other side. Just a little bit more. Alright, so you should have a little slit here. Also is important when you cut your bamboo and you split it in half, you want to make sure that when it's newly cut you kind of shave off the edges here. Bamboo is very sharp, so you don't want to grab this and start rubbing on it and you have some sharp bamboo here that'll cut your hand. So you just slide this through, cut off those sharp edges just like that. Do it on the inside and the outside, just to make sure that you get those. I've already done this one, but just to give you an example, you're just gonna slide through and take off those sharp edges. As you can see, I took off those already. Next, we're going to prepare the part that we're going to be rubbing against. So I like mine fairly long. What a lot of people do is they jam this into the ground and put it into their chest, kind of like that, and then they rub this way. And you can cut it short as well to do that. I like to lay it flat on the ground, and so that's why I like a long piece, because I like to sit on it like so. That way it doesn't bend and twist on me. So a lot of times if you put it that way, it bends and it twists and it goes all over the place. So I like it flat up against the ground. It gives me more pressure to push off of, allows me to get more friction and more heat faster. But let me show you how to prepare this. So this, we're going to be rubbing on here. So this part has to fit inside this slot. Also, like I said, when you cut this in half, it's very sharp. So not only do you have to shape it to the right size, but you got to make sure that it's not sharp, because if you slide and your hand goes across this, you're going to cut your hand open. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to take maybe this part right here. So you can see it's kind of thick. And we're going to just take that down. Let's see here. This part looks like it's good already, but let's do this part so you can see how it's done. And you're just going to kind of thin it out by shaving from the outside, just like that. You want it, like I said, about as thick as the back of your knife. Like I said, it should just be enough to fit inside there. And do the outside or the inside too, like I said, so you can take off those sharp edges as well, so you don't cut yourself. Okay, you're just going to take off kind of those, smooth this out a bit. See if it can fit in there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So you check here, it doesn't slide back like this, it only goes one way. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, so we'll just prepare that, just like that. And what you do is you take your tinder, if you have this. If you did the bamboo, scraping the bamboo way, you can put that over it as well. You can make two balls and put it on the side, or just put it like that. I like to put it a little bit off to the side so that I don't smother out the coal. So what we're trying to do here is we're going to create a lot of heat by rubbing this together, and it's going to create coal by wearing this off and also wearing this part out here. and the coal's going to start to appear inside here. We want to do that first, and then as the coal starts to heat up, you'll get an ember. And we're going to use this over top like that to keep the coal from moving around and falling out as you're moving this back and forth. But I try not to put too much on there so that it can breathe a little bit. Also, you don't want to put this over squeeze here too hard. I usually will just cup it on one side like that just to hold it in place and make sure the ember doesn't fall. Okay, so now we're ready. Find a comfortable way to start. You can sit sideways or you can straddle it. I'm just going to do it this way. And let's get started. So like I said, to avoid cracking the bamboo, I keep my hands open. And I might grab it lightly once I have to speed up. So first we're just going to stay relaxed. Remember to breathe through this. And it shouldn't slide easily. You should have some friction going. And eventually you'll start to smell the bamboo heating up. As you smell it heating up, then you start speeding up. And you'll see this start to turn brown. I can smell it already. As you can see, it's getting darker. You want to lean forward a little bit to get your body weight over it. That'll help to save you some energy. Okay, you see it turning black now. It's time to speed up a little bit. Increase the pressure. It's important that once you see it start smoking to not stop. You want to keep going the whole time. And once you get a lot of smoke, just keep going as much as you can. You want to ensure that that ember stays there. If you stop as soon as the smoke starts, the ember will go out. Here it is, I can smell it. Keep going, keep going. All right, let's see. There it is. Don't get it right away. Let it build. Lightly blow on it. Not too hard. There. It's heating up. Okay. Let's get it. We're going to put it in here. Okay, let's take it. Where we bring it? you. We're carrying fire. There it goes. All right, there's your fire. This is the hole that we used to make the fire just now. As you can see, it's much bigger now. When we started, it was about the size of a pinhole. And now it's a little bit bigger. You can see through it now. So it should get bigger, but not too big. The coals should stick together enough to where they don't fall through that. And you should develop a nice ember. So there are different reasons that Filipinos use fire. Some may not be obvious if you're from another country. But the first one, of course, is for cooking. And another reason that you can use fire is to get rid of mosquitoes. Dengue is a big problem in the Philippines, and that's a disease spread by mosquitoes. And the smoke really helps well at getting rid of them. Another reason is they help trees flower, especially fruit trees such as mango trees. What they'll do is they'll make a fire underneath the tree, and the smoke helps the tree develop flowers much quicker. Another way that Filipinos use fire is to clear the land. And as long as you know what you're doing, it's a fast way to clear the land, as long as you know how to control a fire. And those are the different methods that Filipinos use fire. You make a fire using bamboo. If you've tried this method before and have a link to your video, post it in the comments. Let me know what you think. A lot of people here in the Philippines, different tribes, still use this method. And I really enjoy using this method too. It's a very reliable method. I use this pretty much every day to make fire for various reasons. And I could say that it really works well. Let me know what you think. If you learned something, if you liked the video, like, subscribe, comment, share, tag your friends. Until next time.